Section 3, Video 2. Classify each triangle as specifically as possible, and that is important to understand that phrasing. We'll come back to that in a minute. So our first triangle we're looking at, by the information given, we have all three different length sides, so by definition that is a scalene triangle. The second one, we have tick marks that represent that all three sides are equal length. Therefore, this is an equilateral triangle. Number 3, we have two sides of equal length given, which makes it an isosceles triangle. We also have a box in there that tells us that it is a right triangle. And this is where the phrasing specifically, so try to name your triangle with as much detail as possible. So these two observations are separate types of triangles, but together we would be given the most specific answer, and that would be an isosceles right triangle. And that is expected to be given. If we have one of the other two, it's not specific enough. So make sure you, if you notice different characteristics like that, that you put them together. And our last one, we have by notation all three different sides. So again, scalene. Our last question is going to be, our last two questions are in word form. So our first one is, given a right triangle. So we are told that we have a right triangle. So I'm just going to draw it. That's all I know for sure. The legs are 7 feet and 12 feet. So the legs are the sides that make the right triangle. So 7 and 12. Those are the legs. Make that better there. What is the hypotenuse? That is the question mark. Well, since it's a right triangle and we're dealing with sides, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. And that is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are the legs, which makes this a 7 squared. I want to write this down here. You can write it there like you should on your notes, but I need more space. Hard to write it small with the smartboard. So 7 squared plus 12 squared, and we don't know the hypotenuse, we'll call that c. So if we do the work, we get 49 plus 144 if we square those two numbers, and we get still equal to c squared. 49 plus 144 is 193. And to undo a square root, or a square, we square root. So our answer can be written two different ways. You can write it as just the square root of 193. That's the exact form. Or we can actually root it and get a decimal, which is approximately 13.9. And since they give us the unit feet, we will put in feet as well. B, find the missing side. Well, if you look at this picture, we have the hypotenuse, but we do not have one of the legs. But we still write it out the same way. So 8 squared plus, and then instead of using A or B, since they give us the letter X, we'll just use X. So we square 8 and get 64. Square 14 and get 196. We are going to undo the 64, so we subtract it because we're solving for x, which gives us x squared equal to 132, and then square root will give us root of 132, or approximately 11.5. And again, they gave us the unit, so we should have the unit in the answer. This ends section 3, video 2.